Hi, all you BC WrestlePod nerds out there, and welcome to another rendition of Dual Dynasty, your weekly WWE review show here on the BC WrestlePod podcasting, wrestling network, Twitch, YouTube conglomeration thing we do every single day of the week, except for Thursdays. Except for the last couple of weeks, we've been doing stuff on Thursdays, including this week. But I am one of your hosts, Mikey, and of course, joining me this morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you're watching this, is the Kilt Man, the voice of
Hello.
reason and blasphemy. Just kidding.
Yeah, you said reason. That's the shit. We know for a damn
Very,
fact
very
I ain't
true.
the voice of anyone's reason.
That is very, very true. But the two of us are going to be here to review both Raw and Smack. You know what? We got a little bit of improvement from what was, last week, stuff leading into Backlash, and we talked about Backlash last week. Go check out that review because I think we had a good time reviewing Backlash, especially because, we had our lovely friend to the channel, Nick, pop in for 10 minutes and we dissected probably what ended up being the best match of the card, which was the opening match of the Fatal 4-Way. But we also talked about some additional thoughts as well as gave our predictions. So if you want to go check that out on Twitch. But if videos and long form content is not your speed, then you could check out the social medias where you can see clips of all of our reviews, report cards for all the shows and the pay-per-view. And especially now, for the next 2 weeks, you can catch Adolfo and uploading our quick recaps of New Japan's The Best of the Super Juniors tournament as we give you a week-by-week breakdown of the blocks. So it's been a lot of fun, but we got a lot of stuff coming up. Stick tuned to the end of the show because I do have an announcement of what's to come and also what we are doing something special for the 2025-2026 Predictions League for WWE. So stay tuned for all of that because I have nice graphics and everything. But without further ado, let's get into this because we are going to start off with what we normally do here, which is Monday Night Raw. So we are going to kick things off with, what started at us with Raw, which was a promo from Mr. CM Punk. We haven't really heard much from Phil over here in terms of being portrayed by Paul Heyman and everything that went down at WrestleMania, but he is here and he cuts a promo. So, of course, given the unfortunate news of what had happened earlier in the week with the passing of wrestling legend Sabu, CM Punk, before getting into the ring, does the Sabu point to the sky kind of thing. And then we get into the meat of the potatoes of this promo, where Punk basically is hurt that Paul Heyman betrayed him, and he wants to get back at him and Seth and everything, which doesn't take long for Seth and company to interrupt. Punk and Seth go back and forth, talking about how, Punk calling Seth a cheap Temu version of him, which was wild to hear. Seth and still going after him, saying that Punk is not needed here and all that stuff. We get a brawl, which then the odds are evened when Jey Uso and Sami Zayn come in to even the odds. So we're getting violence upon violence. And more importantly, Kilt, we get a match made for Saturday night's main event coming up this Saturday, which is Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker versus CM Punk and Sami Zayn. So what did you think of our opening promo and all the stuff that went down?
Dude, I'm excited. This is actually probably one of the matches for Saturday Night Main Event that I'm actually excited about. At the moment, there's only two that I can think of. This one and one we'll talk about later. This is going to be interesting because it's Sami Zayn against someone who's not freaking K. So, yay.
I'm really interested. I'm surprised, but not surprised that they're having this match happen at Saturday night's main event. So I'm wondering if we're going to get something at Money in the... This is why I'm not surprised, because this is the story that's been the last, couple of weeks post Mania, and I'm guessing they don't want to stack Money in the Bank too much, given the fact that the two Money in the Bank matches are going to be the focal points or what open and close the show. So I'm interested to see if these four have any involvement at Money in the Bank, but Saturday night's main event is first up, which is this upcoming Saturday, which should be an interesting one for sure. But we move on from this because we're going to talk about what was our first official match of the night. And my goodness, this was actually kind of a banger. We had Penta, or just Penta in WWE, taking on Chad Gable. These two threw down, and this was a solid back and forth. I really, really enjoyed this, and Penta does pick up the victory here. Kilt, what did you think of our opening match here?
I want to see more of this. I do want to see an unmasking of the Starbucks order because we know it's Chad Gable. We know he likes to, kind of cheat. But Penta is doing really well in his run so far, and I'm actually enjoying every moment. I'm enjoying all the interviews he's doing, all the behind the scenes stuff. The one of my favorite little bits of Penta was during the photo shoot at WrestleMania after the announcement of the acquisition of Triple H. He's in the middle, Penta's in the middle, and Andrade's trying to peek over the crowd. And he's like, just trying to block him. It was so hilarious. I really there was a lot of good substance here. I think this will be a good rivalry. It furthers Chad's storyline of he can't fight against Luchas can't win against Luchas easily. And I think it's just a great opportunity. It's a great match.
Indeed. Again, this has been such a really fun story and good back and forth. And Penta's been involved in lots of other stuff too, in terms of not just with Chad Gable, but he also is he's been involved with the Judgment Day. So Penta has options of where we want to go with all of this. So I am ecstatic. This is going to be a fun one. Can't wait to talk about you, Penta, a little bit more too, because I'm excited to see where this goes. Absolutely. So from here, we get a pre-tape promo from Roxanne and Julia. The women are in the main event for Raw this week, which makes me super, super excited. So Roxanne and Julia basically said that they are here on main roster, and Julia tells us that her and Roxanne didn't come to wait their turn. They came to take over. So we're going to talk about the main event. It was actually a really fun main event. I'm so happy that the women got to main event Raw, because it's been a while since we had the women main event on with the weekly television show on main roster. So I'm happy to be able to have all that.
I mean, I say it
after
often.
This though, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I say it often. The women do not get enough credit.
No, they do not. And I feel like they need to, because we have such a stacked women's roster in WWE. They should be used accordingly. But before we continue on, to preview, this was our next match. We didn't get told this was number one contendership, but this is what the War Raiders were looking for, especially after everything that went down at Mania. But before I could get too much deep into it, let me bring, our other co-host in here. All hail Botox Skeletor. Minnie, welcome to the review. What up, doe? So thank you for joining us this morning, afternoon, evening, wherever people are watching this. And let's get into this. So let's be honest, guys. Did we think that this match was going to end any other way? Did we honestly? So War Raiders, American made, win because New Day get involved, costing the War Raiders the match. Do we get a rematch at Money in the Bank? Kilt, go.
Potentially. I don't know. Oh, gosh. If they don't do it for something else some other time, there's going to be either a three-way, or there's going to be a beatdown between War Raiders and New Day, or New Day is going to have a match with someone and War Raiders are going to come out and fuck with them. It's going to be one of those. They're taking some hints from the other team, I think it is, and just actually playing with their tag teams a little bit more. Now, honestly, I'd like to see more in the women's side of the tag team, because I don't think they get enough spotlight. But this was really fun to watch. This was good.
Minnie, men's tag team division. Do we think that Raw is on the right track, or do we still think they're a little bit lost in all of this?
There's 4 tag teams. Can we get more? Just give us some more. Do what SmackDown's doing. But everybody, guys, here's Raw's tag team division. These 3 teams, they're always going for the belt.
Yeah, I'm gonna be so for real. I thought Fraxium would end up on Raw, and I said that Fraxium should have been on Raw to give the energy boost to this tag team division. Now, don't get me wrong. I love that they're on SmackDown, and we wasted no time of, making them important, because they get a championship match, which we'll talk about when we get to SmackDown next week. But yeah, Minnie, I kind of have to agree with you. We have 4 tag teams, really. Judgment Day, American Made, War Raiders, and then, of course, the New Day. But we haven't really done much with this tag team division, and I don't know what else we can do. Probably get another tag team in here to make it 5, so we have places to go. But I also agree with you, Kilt. I think because you actually have more appealing champions in Raquel and Liv for the women's tag titles, they should be showcased. It's not a tag type of show, unfortunately, because for some reason, Adam Pearce and Raw don't know what to do with them. But again, New Day get involved, costing the War Raiders the match. American Made does pick up the victory here, so we shall see what the next couple of weeks go for, our tag team division. Where there is uncertainty with the tag team division, we can also rest assured that Seth Rollins out here be plotting. And this is exactly what this moment sets up for later. Braun Breaker, of course, being our lovable meathead, doesn't understand what is going on, why they don't go attack. And Seth has to explain to Braun that, sometimes you have to have a plan, you have to have action, but we're not done for tonight. And he whispers something in Braun Breaker's ear that Braun Breaker needs to take care of by the end of the night. Braun is out here playing checkers while Seth is teaching him that we need to play chess. So more on this later in the show.
And then there's little Paul Heyman.
Cinema kids. And then this is where the booking comes into question for me, because Gunther comes out saying that the winner of, between Jey Uso and Logan Paul at Saturday night's main event. And when he said that, I was like, oh, cool. So whoever wins is going to go up against Gunther Money in the Bank, right? Wrong, because Gunther is getting a rematch for whoever walks out of Saturday night's main event. I think the Monday Night Raw after Money in the Bank. And I'm just sitting here. I'm like, why? You could have had it on Money in the Bank, but it is what it is.
Which makes sense because it's the
don't like
pay-per-view.
this. Right. I get that the 2 Money in the Bank ladder matches are the opener and the closers, but I
think they're just trying to force more people to watch the Netflix Raws. So they're starting to put more on them.
I guess. I just hate this for everybody involved. I hate this for Gunther. Yeah, those are the only 2 people I hate this for, but it is what it is. Hopefully Logan does something tomorrow night on Monday Night Raw for Saturday night's main event, but I doubt it. We shall see. I don't like Logan. Well, we figured out what Seth wanted Braun to do, attack Jey Uso after this. So that is exactly what he did. I'm just like, Braun just out here walking with shirt open, just being a menace. Go off, sis. So nobody can tell me otherwise. Seth is about to be building up the Evolution 2.0 2025 version, if you will. Literally, Braun Breaker is out here being the Batista of the group, while Seth is being the Triple H. Paul Heyman is taking the Ric Flair role, so you need a young Randall Keith Orton archetype somewhere down the line. So I'm still waiting to figure out who that gonna be. Summer. But I would love it for me to Carmelo, but him and Miz are kind of doing a thing together, and they're embroiled in a weird 2-on-1 feud with Aleister Black. We'll talk about that when we get to SmackDown. But first, I actually really like this match. I need something more for Finn because the moniker of Pin Balor is kind of getting out of hand here. But I will say, though, Finn lost because double shenanigans happened. First, Carlito and JD McForehead, Judgment Day, come out to kind of try to cost AJ the match, but their interference is interrupted by the interference from Penta. So Penta, stopped Judgment Day from getting involved, which allowed AJ to beat Finn Balor for this. And then Penta does the best thing possible, where he does his smooth operator walk across the desk, and it was amazing. I'm like, Penta's just out here. Exactly. You cannot tell me otherwise. Penta's just out here.
It was such a power
really
move.
Is. I'm like, Penta is being a Chad, and we love it. But this has to mean that AJ needs to be going up against Dom in sub capacity. I think that's probably one of the matches we're probably going to get at Money in the Bank. AJ versus Dom for the Intercontinental Championship, which I would not be upset about because we need matches for Money in the Bank, and the Intercontinental Championship would be great. I would also appreciate it if we could have, the Women's United States. We're going to talk about when we get to SmackDown, because again, I don't understand why we're having champions qualify for, fighting for spots in Money in the Bank, but I digress. Great match. Liked it. Penta is a Giga Chad. We love it. We love to see it, honestly. I love when wrestlers take the things that people talk about them online and put it a part of their character, because literally this promo from Becky on top of this turnbuckle, she basically is taking the Becky Hogan accusations and is running with it now in this current character form, that now she's going to stomp all over the Raw women's roster, and I am here for it. Honestly, I'm excited. I can't wait. Hopefully, Lyra's not too banged up. We talked about Backlash that she suffered from a broken nose. So hopefully she's not out for too long. But Becky Hogan, are the accusations fair, or is the internet being stupid again?
It's the internet. They're always stupid.
That's fair. I just wish they'd leave Becky alone, man. Like, I know. Here's the thing. I can understand if people say, Becky's not my cup of tea when it comes to a women's wrestler because, I don't like the character. It doesn't resonate with me. And I'm like, okay, cool. I understand that. But for people to accuse Becky to be this version of Hulk Hogan who does, and all the stuff that comes with it, basically is somebody being called a Hulk Hogan in this day and age, doesn't want to put people over, basically swings their weight around, so to speak, to get what they want, and basically being an absolute turd to people in the locker room. Becky is not to me, and I don't understand it. I was like, y'all were clamoring for this before Becky left, and now that she's doing it, y'all are mad. Like, I don't get it. Everybody needs to chill. Let Becky do what she does best. I prefer this over the last heel turn we got, which was when she went into Big Time Bex mode, because Big Time Bex was annoying to me. This one I like, because Becky's like, yeah, I'm going to destroy the women's locker room. And I'm like, yes, Becky, I am here for you being more vicious. Destroy these women on this roster. I'm here for this. But I was just like, the internet needs to chill, though.
I just
they
don't
really,
like
really
this.
do.
I'm gonna
in all these promotions.
I'm gonna come in. I'm gonna be this Hulk Hogan guy you ever say. I'm gonna destroy everybody. You lost the layer though.
That is very true. And honestly, I kind of was hoping that Becky would win too, because Lyra as a chasing challenger is really fun. And I mean, chasing challengers tends to be the best story, because then you have somewhere to go from. But because Lyra is suffering from a broken nose, and who knows how long of action she's out of, we got to progress the story with some of the characters missing until Lyra's ready to go and get back into the mix of things. But internet needs to chill. Y'all need to leave Becky alone, because for some reason y'all want to go in so hard when it comes to the women's wrestlers, yet you claim you want better for the women's wrestling in 2025. Get the flip out of here with that double standard. Just saying. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Speaking of women's action, we finally made it to the main event. Raw just did not waste our time this week. They're just like, we're going to get from point A to point B. Here's the start of the show. Here's the end of the show. So this is what main evented. We've been building this for the last 2-3 weeks between these four women. So in our main event for Monday Night Raw, it is Rhea Ripley and our women's champion Io Sky taking on the team of Roxanne Perez and Julia. This was a fantastic main event. I am happy that they main evented. I am also happy that they let them go for a while, because this was really, really great. This was, well, of course, Io and Rhea, we know that they are great. This was really good for Roxanne and also really good for Julia, especially for those who are not familiar with Julia's work in Stardom and in Japan in general, and who do not watch NXT. You got to see a little bit of why her being signed to WWE is kind of a big thing. Io and Rhea do pick up the victory here, and we close out Raw with this shot with Rhea non-verbally telling Io that she hasn't forgotten and she still wants to come back for that championship. Kilt, I come to you first. What did you think of our main event and the Rhea and Io part 2 tease of their feud?
I'm loving it. It was great. Even the good game from Mommy, and as well as tired as Rhea looked, she still did the Io fucking emote thing. It was a good match, all in all. I'm excited. I love crossovers when you have talent from other agencies or, other brands coming in to go at each other and just have a little bit of a feud. Brings great story, builds more story between these two, obviously, because you just look at that look. It's like, oh, that's mine. I'm coming back for it. And he was like, oh, crap. But it's going to be so much fun. I'm excited. I can't wait.
Minnie, same question posed to you. What did you think of the part 2 of this feud?
Can we get more? Can we see Julia start to kick everybody's ass from now on and Roxanne be her little pop rock self? I love it. It's great.
It is.
Also, in other news, Darby Allin has officially reached the top of Mount Everest.
Yes, and other news too for other promotions, AEW wrestler Darby has reached the top of Mount Everest. I am so happy he's dead. Hopefully this means he's coming back to AEW, and hopefully he will be the savior we need to end this Death Rider storyline. But that's for a whole nother review.
You know what that means? New coffin drop spot
from the top of Mount Everest. Oh Lord.
Oh yeah, speaking of AEW, people know I won't be here next week. I'll be at Double or Nothing next week in Arizona.
Heck yeah.
Sitting on the floor.
I mean, we'll be taking a break this upcoming Memorial Day weekend. Hell yeah. We'll talk afterwards because they solidified a bunch of the card last night after Collision, but we'll talk offline.
Thank God. I don't know shit.
Julia, we're not done with you quite yet. We're going to talk. Yeah, that's okay. I will fill you in when we go off air today. But Julia, we will come back to you because you weren't done this week. So we're going to talk about you a little bit later. But that has been Monday Night Raw. Overall, it was a pretty decent episode. We got from point A to point B. We developed the storylines. We are seeing stuff happening and getting made for Saturday night's main event this upcoming Saturday. Just as a program note, we will not be doing a watch along because I will not be here for Memorial Day weekend because I decided for some reason I would like to chaperone a trip over Memorial Day weekend with teenagers. So that's going to be an interesting thing. But let us get into the second half of our show, which is now the Friday of the Smacketh Downs. So SmackDown, I feel SmackDown this week, I felt like recovered from last week. Last week we talked about how it was SmackDown, the go home show before Backlash, was very uneventful. It was very filler episode-y. It was really rough. I will say, I think that SmackDown this week recovered. I actually really enjoyed it, but let's talk about everything that happened because, y'all, we got to talk about this really quickly because the Bloodline is still kicking. 2.0 version is still here. And we open up with Solo Sikoa, all gas, no brakes, Yaramin, Jacob Fat, and I'm still calling him Jeff Cobb.
JC?
I'm just going to start with this. I hate Jeff Cobb's WWE. JC Mateo is some bullshit. I hate it so much. I really hate it. I'm just like, no, the curse of horrible WWE names has struck again. I will get over it, but it's not great, y'all.
Where's the
it is rough. So that is the other thing too. I know that Tonga Loa is still injured, but I think he's coming back too. I don't know what happened with Tama though. I don't know where Tama is. My goodness. So the memes, yes. So we kick things off with a Solo Sikoa actually cutting a really decent promo. And so, again, Solo is playing this. You'd be like, I'm about to take power back because Jacob's getting too big for his britches, but it's in the form of love, but it's not really. Jacob does challenge Solo a little bit later on, but Solo's like, I love you. I know you can do this, but I'm just like, I'm waiting. It's going to happen. This turn is going to happen. Jacob's and Solo going to be fighting kids. It's going to be great.
Why did they look like Samoan NWA?
I mean, I'm going to be so for real. Out of the three of them, I'm rocking with Jacob. Jacob's probably the one I'm going to rock with. I was like, yeah, that kind of makes sense. But Solo Sikoa out here just watched the Weekend movie, Hurry Up Tomorrow, and is still inspired by the Weekend.
Jeff Cobb looks like he's about to stand by the grill and tell me how good these hamburgers are about to be.
Welcome to Good Burger, home of the Good Burger. Can I take your
horn? He looks like a dad. He just needs New Balances that are grass stained.
He is. Oh my gosh, I can't unsee it now. Jeff Cobb, JC out here be looking like he's about to be a Samoan suburban dad is wild out here. Oh my goodness, but
has insane lore, so he can kick your ass.
No, yeah, his finisher is a thing of beauty, which we'll talk about in his impromptu match later. But yeah, the tension is there. Solo and Jacob have that unspoken, we gonna fight each other. LA Knight is still mad from what happened last week, so he pulls JC out and runs away. Mr. Knight, we're gonna talk about you a little bit later, but I thought this was a very strong promo. It's been a hot minute since Solo has actually been taken serious. And if this is the direction where we're going for, where Solo is planning slowly bit by bit to take ultimate power and authority back, since Jacob kind of hijacked it because, well, let's be honest, Jacob is him. The Samoan werewolf is everything, and we love the Samoan werewolf up in this household. So very good. We're going to talk about all these people a little bit later, but Kilt, I see you have thoughts.
The thoughts are being spoken. So unfortunately, this is two separate shows, and my brain was like, what if it's a situation where one of these decides to go to Raw, either Solo or Jacob, and Jacob ends up joining with Seth, or Solo joins up, because you say he's trying to take over. It's going to be a combating, yes, it's two separate shows, but it's going to be kind of a combating interest, and that would be a lot of fun to watch.
Honestly, it definitely would be for sure. And according to reports, WWE is looking to have their draft right before, the night before night one of SummerSlam, which is going to be interesting. So everybody who is currently on this roster, we're going to keep them here until literally before the night before SummerSlam starts in August. So that's going to be wild. But again, we're going to talk about the Temu Bloodline and LA Knight a little bit later in the show because we continue to see them throughout. But first, let's talk about what we got for our first match. we are officially starting our SmackDown started their qualifying matches for Money in the Bank. This was the first match of the evening and our first women's Money in the Bank qualifying match, in which we saw Michin versus Alexa Bliss versus Chelsea Green. Honestly, I was rooting for Alexis or Chelsea or actually, honestly, any of these three. I'm kind of sad that these three were in the same match together. I was like, oh, that means unless there's a final chance qualifying match, all three of these women are not going to be in Money in the Bank, and it makes me very sad. The match itself was fine. It was 7 to 8 minutes. Everybody kind of got their spots in, and Alexa Bliss does end up picking up the victory, and we'll be moving on to Money in the Bank in Los Angeles, which I'm excited to be able to go see live.
I kind of hope she wins. You heard the pop she got, right?
Yes. Okay. So the crowd is behind her. I loved it. I have missed Alexa. I'm glad that she seems to be back and she'll be here on a weekly basis or at least a bi-weekly basis, which I'm here for. However, once again, internet, we got to have a discussion because it should not take Chelsea Green to get on her social medias to tell everybody to back off of Alexis. And because the internet was not being nice to Alexis, telling her that she didn't deserve to go to Money in the Bank, it should have been Chelsea. So Chelsea Green should not have to step into the social medias and tell all of y'all to behave and back off Alexa. I was just like, y'all wanted Alexa Bliss back so bad, but just because Chelsea didn't win here, now y'all want to turn on her. It's some craziness out here. Alexa has been gone for 2 years. I have missed Alexa. I'm glad she's back.
How over Chelsea Green is, though.
That is very true.
Curious about the returning Alexa Bliss that she won over Chelsea Green.
Honestly, so hopefully there is a last chance qualifying match down the line, but I am happy to see Alexa, and I'm kind of with you, Minnie. I want to see, depending on how the rest of the field goes out, I'm rooting for Alexa to win. I think Alexa winning definitely would be great. And I believe this would be her second time because I think, isn't she a former Miss Money in the Bank winner too? Like she won the Money in the Bank previously. I have to look that up, but I wouldn't. Whether it's the first or the second time, I am here for Alexa Bliss. I love her. This was, it did what it did do. It was a fun way to open the show. But internet, y'all need to chill. Chelsea, we love you. Alexa, we love you. Michin, we love you. It was great. This match was also kind of banging. So we had Axiom and Nathan Frazier taking on DIY. Again, Tommaso Ciampa without the beard is still very jarring. I was like, I don't like this render. I hate this render. I hate it. This was actually a banging match, though. And to my surprise, Fraxium beat DIY. And I was just like, you know what? This is going to be great.
They're still pushing
Fraxium has gotten the rocket strapped to them. They have beaten every single tag team except for the Guns on this roster. And they get a championship match next week against the Profits, which again should be banging. Let that main event, please. Let that match be the main event. The Profits versus Frax is gonna slap. For those of us that do watch NXT or checked out Stand and Deliver, we all know how amazing Fraxium is as a tag team.
Or even the rest of the TNA.
That is also very true too. The fact that Fraxium gets to go up against the Profits too is going to be a magic. I cannot wait. But after the match, though, DIY was feeling some type of way, so they decided to attack Fraxium after the match, and the Motor City Machine Guns came out for the save. Again, Raw needs to take notes because this is how you do your tag team division, because the Guns and DIY could possibly be feuding with each other because they still don't like each other. Fraxium and the Profits are going to have the championship, a tag team championship match this upcoming Friday. We are thriving on SmackDown's tag team. I need Raw to pick it up, honestly. But great match. I'm excited for this championship match this Friday, actually. So after this, though, we do get into a little bit of this part. I know Kilt was loving this moment. We were all loving this moment. This was the sit-down interview Wade Barrett had with R-Truth. And you guys, we talked a little bit about this, but slowly but surely in this interview, we still got the R-Truth, but a little bit of Ron Killings came out. And more importantly, well, first off, before I show the next graphic, my favorite line of this whole thing is R-Truth saying that was not John Cena, and he still loves him, but if hands need to be thrown to get through him, R-Truth is going to do so, which then we get forever my wildest dreams in 2025 for the undisputed WWE Championship. John Cena will be defending the title at Saturday night's main event against R-Truth.
Oh my God. Give it to me. Give me Truth versus Cena. Let him go to town. Oh my God. I'm so excited.
Minnie, same question to you. This started as a joke, but we're actually here. What do you think of R-Truth going up against Cena?
I agree with Kilt, but it's too early into the heel run, I think, still. He's had 2 matches as a heel, so I think we should give him a little bit more time to simmer in the heel juices. Then R-Truth pulls him out.
That is very true. So I see this match happening one of 2 ways. Well, actually, both of them end with R-Truth not winning. That is definitely going to be a thing. But there are two ways that I see this going. Either A, it goes down the path where it's actually a pretty decent back and forth exchange. I'm not expecting this match to go long, but R-Truth loses and Cena tries to prove a point to Truth. Or the second way is that this match is a setup and R-Truth is about to get his butt whooped the whole entire time, a la Cena getting F5'd at SummerSlam for like 10 minutes straight before losing. And John Cena beats R-Truth up so badly that it starts to creep that doubt and be like, oh man, what am I? I am a little surprised we're getting it this Saturday. I feel like we could have gotten this maybe at Money in the Bank, or shoot, if they wanted to build a program over the summer, if they were going to have this, SummerSlam would actually be a fun way to put it too, but who knows? But it seems that Truth might be the key piece that is needed to begin the John Cena, redemption arc. So we'll see what happens, because Saturday night's main event will be happening this Saturday, and we'll see what goes down with all of that. But I'm excited. This is actually really fun. And you know what? I don't care. It doesn't have to be serious. This is fun, and that's all that matters to us. So this match, before we got to the DQ finish, was actually really good. Mello and Aleister Black have really great chemistry together, and I was really enjoying this. And then, of course, Miz got involved, caused a whole DQ. They beat up Aleister Black after the match. So Aleister technically does win, but this Mello don't Miz a feud with Aleister Black, I'm kind of here for it. I'm hoping we don't have to stay here that long, though. So this is going to be interesting. I love these pre-promos. Damian, I love you. I really, really do. And, I'm excited for what's coming at Saturday night's main event. In this pre-tape promo, we do get Damian Priest talking about how he needs to end his feud with Drew. And he lays out the challenge for Saturday night's main event to, have that as a steel cage match. And he will await Drew McIntyre's answer. I am going to kind of speed through a little bit of this because we do get an answer later. Drew comes out about 5 minutes later in the show, cuts a quick promo, accepts the challenge at Saturday night's main event. We are getting a steel cage match between Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre. Hopefully this is the end of the feud, with Solo Sikoa and Drew McIntyre staring down each other for this. I'm going to be honest, I'm excited for the match. I'm hoping this is the end of the feud between the two of them. But who knows? Yeah. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
So we're going to uncork the pin a little bit because Julia has officially moved over to the SmackDown roster. So we first see Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss doing some talking.
Botox Skeletor.
Last week, too, on SmackDown, that Charlotte Flair couldn't Botox Skeletor. She couldn't get through a promo last week, and so she just up and left. Jade stared her down and told her to get to the back of the line. Charlotte was leaving backstage, and Alexa told her, hey, we need to talk. So Charlotte and Alexa are doing some stuff, which might be crazy. They go up to Nick Aldis's office to talk about some things, and we find out from Nick Aldis that Julia is now officially a member of the SmackDown roster. And I'm just like, yes! I'm sad that Roxanne and Julia aren't going to be a tag team on Raw, but Julia on SmackDown. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Julia Julia has some really good opponents with this women's roster on Smack, which makes me super excited. So her versus Michin, her versus Alexa, Julia versus anybody on the SmackDown women's roster is going to be a lot of fun. So I cannot wait. This is going to be fun. So we get into our second qualifier for Money in the Bank, this time on the men's side, in which we had Rey Fenix, Jimmy Uso, Big Jim, and Solo Sikoa. Now, when I looked at this, I was like, Solo Sikoa's going to win, and it's because of shenanigans. And boy, howdy, there were shenanigans.
All the shenanigans.
Solo Sikoa qualifies through all the shenanigans. But LA Knight comes out and attacks the Bloodline. Nick Aldis is like, no, we cannot have this chaos. This is not Monday Night Raw, so we gonna deal with this right now. We get an impromptu match made for JC Mateo versus LA Knight. Like immediately, this was actually a pretty lengthy match. I did not expect them to actually give this like the 15 minutes that they did. But JC hits his finisher. I don't care for the name that commentary is giving it, but in New Japan, Jeff Cobb's finisher was called Tour of the Islands, the Tour of the Island Tours, or Tours of the Islands, however you want to pronounce it. His finisher is great, beats LA Knight, but Jacob is still not on the same page as Solo and JC, and it's still like, nah, bro, we ain't gonna rock with that. This is great. So here's a little preview of what we're getting for this upcoming Friday Smack. We are getting 2 more qualifying matches for Money in the Bank. On the women's side, we have Julia, Charlotte Flair, and this is where I have a little bit of an issue, because then we also have our Women's United States Champion, Zelina Vega. I said this with the Elimination Chamber qualifiers. Champions should not need to qualify for these matches. They're a champion. Y'all can do something different with them. I love Shinsuke, but again,
I think Aleister Black's going to win.
I've missed Shinsuke, and we did get a little vignette. I hope Aleister wins. That would be great. But who knows? Look, I'm still on the bandwagon. I want to see LA Knight win Money in the Bank, but I would like Aleister to win here, and then there be a last chance match where LA wins, and then who knows? We'll see. Literally, his name is LA Knight. We're going to be in Los Angeles. Like, it's kind of crazy not to have him there, but I digress. I'm really happy to see Shinsuke coming back. As we know, he's been in Japan dealing with, the death of his brother and what that comes with. So I'm happy to see Shinsuke be coming back, and this should be fun. But hopefully what's main eventing the show this Friday is this WWE Tag Team Championship match between the Profits, and cannot wait. So should be a fun show this Friday, but let's get into it. Main event time. We have a championship match. Tiffany Stratton defending her title against Nia Jax. So last week on SmackDown, we had a number 1 contenders match between Nia Jax and Jade Cargill. Naomi and through some shenanigans allowed Nia Jax to win. So this is where we have. I'm actually glad we got this match, because now I feel that Tiffany has kind of finished this feud between her and Nia. I think we would have gotten it finished sooner, but Nia was hurt for a little bit. So Nia and Tiffany, dare I say, this was actually a really solid match. And for a hot second, I thought we were going to get Nia winning, because she pulled the Lyra Valkyria spot where Tiffy tries to go and grab her off the top rope, and then it just throws her off enough for Nia to hit the Annihilator sitting on her. Tiffany with the great ring awareness at like the 2.5 mark, grabbing the rope. Naomi comes out with the chair. It does not work. Nia Jax goes for said chair while the ref is being distracted to take care of Naomi. And Tiffy does a drop kick into the chair, which brutally hits Nia Jax in the face, and she immediately starts gushing. I'm like, oh my goodness. Tiffany then hits the prettiest moonsault ever for the win, and Tiffy time is still your reigning champion. This is actually a really solid match. And Nia Jax, you get my flowers, because girl, this picture, ooh, it busted upside the side. She got busted open at the side of the head from that chair shot.
Yeah, she took a shot.
She took a real shot. Like, I don't know if that was like, did she have it in the wrong angle or something? Because that's serious.
So I don't know if it was a wrong angle, but it looked. I'm not blaming anybody. I think it could have just been. I think when Tiffany hit the drop kick into the chair, I actually think she either hit it at an angle which created more force, or something happened. But if you go back and watch the spot on YouTube or on the social medias too, it bounced off of Nia's, like, the side of her head, and you can immediately start seeing blood gushing from it. So she took a gnarly chair shot, and these are her battle wounds. But I have to give Nia credit, because that was brutal. And honestly, I think this was probably the best match that we got between these two in their feud for now. And see what I mean? It was gnarly. It looked gnarly when Tiffany drop kicked the chair into her.
John Cena has made a comment.
That
about
is
the
why
whole R-Truth thing.
What do you say?
At the Philadelphia Fan Expo, John said, "How in the time continuum can I be R-Truth's childhood hero when he's 150 years old? It don't make any sense."
That's
it's amazing. But Nia Jax, girl, you get your flowers this week, because this is gnarly. You took the shots. Tiffy, you were great. And overall, this was a really, really fun SmackDown. I actually really enjoyed enjoyed this. That does bring us to the end of our Dual Dynasty review. So before we go, though, I do have to do two things before we sign off. First and foremost, the boys do not know about. As you all know, we did over the last year have a somewhat of a predictions lead between the hosts. Minnie, your belt will be getting to you very, very soon in the next couple of weeks. So, and then also the losers will be receiving their wrestling singlets, or in the professor's case, we may make him cosplay as Jeff Hardy. We're still trying to figure out what we're going to do with him for AEW, or actually no, for WWE, which should be fun. But I digress. But we have started our new 2025-2026 predictions league. And because, you know, I'm all about going the extra mile, even though we are a week late and I didn't have it ready to go for a review of Backlash last week, I will put this up on the screen. So every time we do a pay-per-view review now we have an official scorecard. So same background, but different graphics. So here, as you can see on the screen, we have officially started our new predictions league in WWE. The first pay-per-view of this league this year for this season was Backlash, in which we literally all went 4-1. So we are all tied in first place. And as you can see on the board, we have, this summer for WWE in main roster. It's wild out here. But before we sign off, I also want to give you, it is Sunday, so to give you a little bit of a preview for what's to come this week. Tomorrow evening, May 19th at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, the Oedo Bites team of myself and Adolfo will be here to review Stardom's All-Star Grand Queendom pay-per-view. This was a really solid show. Lots of Joshi wrestling. We got to see the legend Meiko Satomura have one of her final matches. We got a retirement. We had no DQ. It was crazy out here. So make sure to tune in tomorrow evening for that review. On Tuesday, myself and the All Elite Ensemble crew of the Professor and JVL will be here to review AEW. Specifically, we will be covering the Beach Break episodes of Dynamite and Collision that happened this past week. And thus begins our summer of AEW, where we are going to be dressing up according to the theme. So if you stop by the review, you will see myself, the Professor, and JVL in beachwear, as we will be talking about Beach Break. So it's going to be sizzling hot summer fun. It's going to be great. On Wednesday, 5:30 p.m. Pacific, 8:30 Eastern, you can catch the NXT Losos crew to review the Go Home show for NXT as we prepare for Battleground this upcoming weekend. So Battleground will be taking place in Tampa, Florida. We have 4 matches made so far, and we might be getting a couple more matches for Battleground. So this is the Go Home show review leading into Battleground this Memorial Day weekend. And then later that night at 8 p.m. Pacific, 12 a.m. Eastern, review your weekly CMLL review with myself, and El the Second, as we cover another rendition of Viernes, as well as other things related to CMLL. And then finally, to finish off the week, because we will not be doing any reviews this upcoming Friday, Saturday, or Sunday due to Memorial Day weekend, and to allow everybody to have some time off. On Thursday, we are premiering our newest review team of the Ring Rats and Riot Axe review team, the newly formed team to review Defy Wrestling. It will be myself and Andrew reviewing Defy Wrestling's Fatal Fantasy pay-per-view that happened this past weekend, which was main evented by our favorite murder grandpa himself, Minoru Suzuki. Cannot wait. It is going to be a great time. I'm so excited to be bringing Defy Wrestling to our review schedule. But that is going to be it for us here at Dual Dynasty. There will not be a review next Sunday as it is Memorial Day weekend, so we will be having some time off. But stay tuned to the social medias because you are going to be wanting to be on the lookout for our predictions. Money in the Bank is next Saturday, so we don't have a lot of time left. Kilt, the hand is raised. What is...
Do not forget the most important thing. If you wish to support us, check out our fourth wall where all of our merchandise is. We have new logos and shit. You forgot last week. I reminded you post-show. You said you were going to do it. You didn't do it to my knowledge. So doing it now.
Yes. So as the Kilt Man says, we also have merchandise available at BC WrestlePod at Fourth Wall, which is great. we have dropped a collection for every single review team, both on the regular US brands and the international brands. We also dropped our Hot Boy Summer collection in 3 variations, which includes tees, tank tops, and just exclusive for this collection, a embroidered bucket hat for the summer too. So this is great. It looks good. There will be a link in the description of this video below, which is fantastic. We love you. But we got to get up on out of here. So thank you so much for tuning into this week's Duel Dynasty. I look forward to seeing lots of you tune in for the reviews we got this week. And please, I do not get a chance to say it later, enjoy your upcoming Memorial Day weekend. For those of you that have it off, enjoy time by yourself, with your friends, with your family, whoever you choose to spend it with. And stay tuned, because this Memorial Day weekend has got a bunch of pay-per-views happening, and all those reviews will be happening next week. So until then, though, from all of us here at Duel Dynasty and the rest of the BC WrestlePod family, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, stay Bi-Conic, and more importantly than anything, you always deserve to finish your story. We will catch you later for the goodness of a fun week of reviews. But until then, and Minnie, why don't you remind the folks at home, why do we do what we do here at BC WrestlePod?
Thank you so much for tuning in to another Vibe Tribe production. What's gonna happen next time? Well, you're gonna have to tune in to find out. But until then, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, and as always, make sure that you keep the good times rolling. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you next time.